Hello and welcome to Seasons of Wonder. My name is Giselle and I am a homeschooling mom to my little girl who is 5 years old. To say the very thing you really mean, nothing more or less or other than what you really mean, that is the whole art and joy of words. That is a quote by C.S. Lewis. And that is what we'll be talking about today. So in today's video, I wanted to talk about ways in which we can help our little ones expand their vocabulary. Words are so powerful. They are like tools and they open up the world of expression and understanding. Being able to put thoughts and ideas, feelings and convictions into words is so powerful in today's world. Also in understanding as well as defending our own ideas and convictions. When I give the process of educating my little one a purpose, an ultimate goal, I think of what I want to achieve in training her and instructing her. As her teacher, I am leading her. But where? And so I think of what my vision for her is, what I hope to achieve in educating her. And so when I think of her as a young lady, I imagine an eloquent, beautiful, educated woman. And of course, in order to achieve this, I must equip her with a strong and abundant vocabulary. So in doing this, I am currently implementing 3 habits. And I wanted to share this with you because I think it might be helpful if you are also trying to expand your little one's vocabulary. So the first thing that I am doing is I am practicing using rich vocabulary myself. Every day I'm trying to use more and more words that I want her to become familiar with and to also use more often. So instead of common words, I want her to use higher level words that are more precise in describing things or ideas. So this habit is best achieved by working on my own vocabulary, practicing it in daily conversations. So I wanted to give you a little tip for this. If you go online and you look for instead of words, you're going to find lots of charts and lists that give words that are more precise in describing verbs or nouns, just common words that we usually use. It gives you lots of options that you can use instead of those common words. Just words that are more precise, that are just higher level, and like I told my little one, those fancy words that we want to use more. There is also a word of the day. I think there's an app for it, but you can also just go online and go to the Merriam-Webster dictionary page. And they also have the word of the day. And you can also practice using those words either daily or weekly, just to help your little one become more familiar with those words. And just try to use them as much as possible in everyday conversations. Just make sure that you integrate those words in a natural way and that it is not forced upon the conversation, but that it is more spontaneous and natural. So what I do is that I look at those charts, at those lists, or even the word of the day. I might want to use those words as well. What I do is I choose 3 words for the whole week and I focus on those words. I write them at the top of my planner for the week and I just make sure that I'm using them constantly and just reinforcing those words. Sometimes a good idea would be to use them while you're playing with them, like with their little stuffed animals or their dolls or whatever it is that they're playing with. You can just use those words then. So the second habit is that I encourage my little one to be a collector of words. So I tell her that I love collecting words, and I do. Because when I'm reading a story, I usually, if I come across a word that I don't know, I get so excited to see what that word means. And so I go and look it up. And even though I don't record these words, I usually remember them. But I want to start doing that. I want to start writing those words and what they mean. And so I tell her that I love collecting words. And I think it's so beautiful when we're able to understand just so many of those words. And I love knowing what those words mean. And also using them in my everyday language. It's just so rewarding. So I tell her that I collect words. And sometimes, I don't do this often, but sometimes when I'm reading to her, I come across a word and I say, I don't know what that means. Let's go look it up. And we go look it up. I try not to do this because I don't like interrupting her stories, but once in a while I'll do that. And so she sees me do it, and she is also doing it. And so what I've done is I have made a little chart for her. And so this is the chart that I made. And it's titled My Collection of Words. And then it has, on this column, it says word. And then on this column, it says what it means. So if she comes across a word that she doesn't know or that she likes, because a lot of times she'll tell me, Mommy, I like that word, or I want to write that word down. So she used to have this fancy word printable that I got for her, and on that she would record just fancy words that she came across in her stories. And so she does love collecting words. And so on this chart, if there are any words that she wants to remember, she can write them on here, or I can write them for her, and we just write the definition. And I think that if we can come up with simple definitions, even for those fancy words, that's even better, because they will more easily retain that information. So this chart I made on my computer. I used Canva for this, but you don't have to make one like I did. You can also just write it down, just use a ruler, a pencil, and just make your own charts, and that would be perfectly fine. And maybe even decorate it with, right along with them if you want to, but that'll work too. I have also heard of mommies who keep their word notebooks. I think that's what they're called, like their word or their book of words, I think. And they just keep a little notebook where they record all those words that they come across and that they want to remember, and just to build on that vocabulary. And so the very last thing that I'm doing to help my little one build her vocabulary is something that I have mentioned a lot on this channel, and that is just reading a whole lot. So the more that you read, the more that they will be exposed to that beautiful language and those fancier words. So believe it or not, children absorb words so much better than we think. Their understanding of words is really high. Even though we may not think of it, just the context of a story can help them in understanding the meaning of words more than we can imagine. And so just continue to read to them as much as you can, and that's going to help them greatly. And so those are the ways that I am helping my little princess build her vocabulary. And I do encourage you to also help your little ones build a strong vocabulary. And I also wanted to mention, it is so cute when they start using those words in just their daily activities or play. It is just adorable, and so I do encourage you. It is also very satisfying to see. And so I hope this video was helpful. And if you have any ideas or habits that you're implementing in your home to build your little one's vocabulary, I would love to hear about it in the comments. And thank you so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you so very much. And I hope to see you in the next video.